owner, editor, founder,
Light bulb changer.
everything.
Yeah, garbage taker outer. Actually, that's good.
Hey everyone, we're back in our offices at Rancilio, USA. We're in between the legs of our road tour. We just wrapped up the first leg. We went to some amazing places throughout the Midwest. The next leg of the road tour is going to take place throughout the Southeast, kicking off with Tinker Coffee on July 19th and then Stay Golden on July 20th. We've been kind of hinting at a video series that we've been putting together. We're releasing one of the first interviews that we've done. This one is with Sarah Allen of Barista Magazine when we were in Zagreb in Croatia for the Barista League. Hope you enjoy it. Awesome, cool. Hey, it's Andrew with Rancilio. I'm sitting down here with Sarah Allen from Barista Magazine. We're just wrapping up Zagreb Coffee Weekend, and we're sitting down here at Cogito Coffee. And I just wanted to talk to you for a little bit about Barista Magazine and this hugely influential role that you've had in the industry. And I remember as a barista back in like 2012, when I was just learning about coffee, being so hungry for information, like the super sciencey, techie pieces. But I'd love to hear your perspective of how the industry has kind of really changed, because you started in 2005 and the industry's gone through a lot of changes up until where we are now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's really super flattering to hear you, Andrew, say that, because I have known you for a really long time now, since you're a barista, and you have, since we met, contributed some of those super sciencey techie articles, and so hearing that it was influential to you as a barista, knowing your coffee brain, is really flattering. I would say that the most exciting thing to have happened in the time that I've been writing about coffee is seeing baristas making careers for themselves in coffee. So many people that we met in the early days now have their own shops, now have their own roasteries, have consultancy businesses, are working with equipment companies in development, and that's just the coolest thing to see.
For sure, yeah. I remember one thing that you said last night over several glasses of wine. That was very. It just really stuck with me. Was that of all the people that you've profiled on the front of Barista Magazine, you said there was maybe like one or two that don't work in coffee anymore, but
Two.
Mm-hmm. Since 2005, and you release a magazine, 6 magazines a year.
6 a year and 15 years, so a lot of magazines.
Yeah, that's a lot of magazines. That's a lot of baristas, and I think that really shows how much the industry, or how much, coffee really just, it just captures you, and it's captured me, and I think that is super interesting, how much as these baristas have moved forward in their careers, where they are now. And that's one thing that is hugely on my mind. We're about to start this road tour ramp up. Yeah. And really the focus of it is professional development for baristas. And how do you make a career out of this, and the longevity of coffee. Is there anything that you, after you've seen so many people kind of start as a barista, start behind the bar, and then make their way to running coffee companies, any advice you would maybe give a barista who is behind the bar and thinking like, what's my next step? What's my next move?
Right. Actually, in a panel discussion that we did the other day with WBC champ from 2015, Sasha Sestic, and Steve Maloney from the Barista League, and Angela, also from the Barista League, people were asking, like, what are careers in coffee? What's the longevity realistically for someone to be a barista and be happy with it? One of the things I love the most about the specialty coffee industry is that it's made up of all these super creative, super intellectual, hilarious, weird people. And because of that, everyone comes with other skills besides coffee. So, like, you might have studied film, you might be a designer, you might be a creator, invent your own little brewer or something, and there is space for everyone to specialize in those things. And so when I talk to cafe owners or roastery owners, and they're like, I don't know what to do because I've got this amazing barista, but I can tell they need a new challenge. Like, talk to them about the things that they're passionate about, and there is probably a way that you can incorporate that into your business, whether it's making them your social media manager, letting them have a hand in the design of your t-shirts and hats. It's very cool. There's an avenue for everyone.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I think that is something that gets overlooked so many times because it's so easy to, especially when you're staffing a bar and you're focused on, making sure that you are profitable and trying to focus on all of these things. It's very easy for baristas to, to just have their role and then clock in and clock out, and the job is very demanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're totally right. It is so important to be able to give baristas that space to be able to see, like, okay, what else, like, you're not just this person making coffee, like, what is your brain thinking? What are these other things that you're bringing to the table that could enrich this coffee organization?
Right. And even a super small company that only has a 5-person staff and a super limited budget, who can't say, I'm going to create a new position for this person, there are other ways to give your baristas ownership and to make them feel empowered. For example, I'm a huge proponent of community events, and like letting say to your baristas, let's close the shop one night and have a community gathering, whether it's a latte art throwdown or a coffee trivia night or just a party. I love seeing people come together like that, and I've seen talked to so many baristas who are like, my boss gave me the freedom to do that, and it was really cool, and I felt really good about it, and I ended the evening so inspired, and so did everybody else, because baristas and coffee people in general are super social. And getting together and being able to talk to people, not your partner, not your friends, people who don't work in coffee, but people who are just as nerdy as you are,
Yep.
feels so good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I know I've experienced that too, being able to kind of step away from the bar and be involved in the bigger community. And that's when I, could really start to blossom and see, like, oh, this is what this person is doing. I would love to do that. I didn't realize there was a way to do it. And I think, yeah, the coffee community and being able to be involved outside of your experience at your shop is so important for baristas. Yeah.
And that's actually part of the reason why we are so excited to support the Ramp Up tour. And no one asked me to say this, but you are putting an emphasis on going into communities that have previously been underserved, because Coffee Fest can't go everywhere, SCA can't go everywhere. But taking something to communities like, I know you're going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's awesome. People will come from all over because they are so hungry. Sometimes in the bigger communities, people are a little more blasé because they have access to so many community events. But when people know that something's being done for them, and for them to, all that it is expected of them is to be sponges and have fun, it's so great. And so I'm thrilled that you guys are going into all those cities that don't usually get a lot of attention.
And we were very happy to do it. I remember being in Chattanooga and just the thought of, like, oh, if like there were to be a regional event or something would be crazy. And that was definitely an impetus of how can we, go to those places where the baristas are hungry, and I think it's great because the baristas come out and they have an amazing time, and
I'm actually really curious if you can kind of speak about your background and how did Barista Magazine come to be? What did it look like when you sort of were like, okay, this is something that needs to be out there, and you're the one to do it? How did you, can you walk us through that?
Sure. So everybody thinks I used to be a barista, and I never was a barista. I have been a writer and editor for my whole life, except for the summer after grad school. I'd always wanted to be a bartender, and so I worked as a bartender for that summer, and I was horrible at it. It was very good for me to do a service industry job, because I think everybody should at some point. But I need to stick to what I'm good at, and I wasn't good at that. So I went to school for university, undergrad, and graduate school in journalism, and so did my husband, who is my business partner in Barista Magazine, Ken Olson. He's the publisher. And I was working for mainstream newspapers right out of school and writing about music and film. And what I really loved about those communities were that they're full of these same people, these same intelligent, nerdy, fun, hilarious. There's a lot more ego in music, so I prefer coffee people. And but then it was right when newspapers, this is in 2000, and it's right when newspapers are starting to like hit the bump. And they sent I was working at the Oregonian newspaper in Portland, and they sent all the cub reporters out to the suburbs. And so all of a sudden I'm not writing about what I like to write about. I'm writing about the local high school basketball team and the local preacher, and I'm just like, this is not what I want to do. And so I took a chance and applied for a job that I saw in the newspaper, which was for an editor of a different coffee magazine, and got it and was there for about a year. And the interesting thing that I learned in my time there was, because I'd been in these corporate mainstream newspaper environments, and it was Fresh Cut Magazine. This is like a small office with a small team, and people are just crazy about coffee, and it's a lot more informal than my old experiences. And, you know, the boss is really passionate but has a wild streak, and I just was like, if they can do this, I can do this. And all the coffee people I was meeting were like that too. Roasters are dreamers, and the really good ones are the ones who know how to hire people to balance that out. But all of a sudden I was like, I could do this. And that was right when barista stuff was starting. Like the Barista Guild had just been formed. Barista competitions were very new in the States. And so I was like, within this specialty category of coffee, there are even more categories. And so Ken and I decided we wanted to start this magazine, and why we thought that we were the right people to do it, I don't know. It was just a risk we took because we were young and stupid and just wanted to try something wild. And so we moved to Seattle, and I worked at Zoka Coffee for a year doing their communications and also helping with competition prep, just sort of to like be in the community. And then a year later we started the magazine. And that was, first issue was May 2015, or 2005.
Just yesterday.
Yes. That's a long story.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking, Sarah. I love what you do. I love what you bring to the community, and this really kind of centralized hub through print and digital online, a way for us to connect with like-minded people in the industry and really see other baristas profiled, coffee professionals profiled in a way that really can kind of be like a guiding light when we're as baristas trying to figure out like, oh, what's my next step? Like, how do I move forward? How is this career sustainable for me? So thanks so much for sitting down and talking.
It's such an honor for us to get to write about this community, to be a part of this community, even though we're not the ones making the coffee. So I just feel lucky every day that I get to be among these people. And you guys are awesome, and I so appreciate you interviewing me.
Thank you.